You could talk up.
Okay. The sun is shining. Spring is in the air, even if it's not fully coming and we don't have a full understanding of when it will come. The more we think about it, the more we feel it, the more it raises our energy vibration. And after this long, cold, dark winter, we are going to start seeing increased light, increased sunshine, increased temperatures in many ways. They might go up and down a bit. But with that onset and that feeling of spring, just the feeling of spring, is enough to open us up to possibility. And with spring comes light. With spring comes new growth, new energy, new spirit. And so we can hold on to that vibration. When we bring spring into our awareness, it opens us up, mind, body, spirit. Spring is a time for growth, whether that be environmental growth where the leaves are budding, the flowers are sprouting, the rivers and lakes are filling up. It's also a time of personal growth because we have increased light for our paths. We have more light from the sun that is going to shine down on us and embrace us with its rays. And with that increased light, our spirit opens up. Our spirit actually reaches for it. It's longing for that light, longing for an increase in our vibration so that we can personally grow and benefit from the spring. And as we feel that energy vibration opening to the spring, we also feel our hearts opening. And when our hearts open, just like when our spirit opens, we are able to see, feel, and attract possibility. And when we pause and become still, we hear the possibility, we feel the possibility, and we see it. We are choosing not to let our minds be cluttered by the winter and the cold and the snow and the slush. Instead, we open our hearts and minds to what is there in front of us: growth, freedom, freedom from the cold, the dark, and we are working our way step by step towards freedom from the pandemic. And as we imagine that freedom, the freedom that we have been waiting for 2 years, as we open our hearts to that, we open our spirit, we can embrace life in a different way. It's a time of renewal, rejuvenation. And that rejuvenation, it's like being recycled, because we recycle ourselves with the rejuvenation. We are opening our hearts and opening our minds and opening our spirit to rejuvenate ourselves, to move forward, to continue our growth, our lifelong path, our journey to personal growth. So as we move out of our closed in cold environments of winter, we can go out onto the streets, and maybe even still masked, we can smile. Because soon it is, we're going to hear those robins singing. And on our walks, we can look for the sprouts in the earth and the buds on the trees. We know that spring is with us. It's in our hearts. Even in the dead of winter, we can still bring spring to our minds. And as we draw nearer to the anniversary date of COVID, we can pause and remember the fear we felt in the very beginning. We're not going to get attached, but we can recall. We can bring it into our awareness and see how far we've come. We can imagine that 2 years ago, the whole world seemed to go dark. But gradually, as we became aware, and gradually as we learned to live with it and to cope and do things in different ways, our fear started to dissipate a bit. There may have been times when we had our ups and downs with the fear. But still in all, it's 2 years later, and we are still here. We are still working towards honoring our mind, body, and spirit. And we know in our hearts that we can alleviate fear. So while being locked down or locked in has been a challenge, we can all honor the fact that we overcame that fear individually and collectively. We supported each other. We honored each other's feelings and emotions. We listened as we talked it through. We never gave up. And that's how it is with all of our life. We never give up. We climb those hills one step at a time. And then sometimes we take one step at a time down that hill, and sometimes we slide all the way down really quickly. But when we get there, when we get down, we look around. We reflect on the power within. We look up to that hill that is in front of us and we take one step at a time. Just like going down that hill, we may be going up slowly, or we might be able to sprint because we have the skills. We have the inner wisdom, we have the support, and we have the knowledge. We have used silence, stillness, loving kindness. We have used our meditation practice to sit with thought and emotion. We have opened our hearts to ourselves, to each other, and to the world. And we continue to need to send that loving kindness to a world that is living with some uncertainty right now. Not COVID related, but still creating fear in many people. But what we are seeing is the world coming together, the world supporting, the world loving. And those are the very things that got us through these last 2 years. And while it may seem counterintuitive to send loving kindness to someone who has the power to really hurt many people, it is our loving kindness that will actually heal ourselves enough to stand up. We've stood up to many, many things in our lives, and we will continue to stand. And so right now, bringing into your heart center that loving kindness, that unconditional love that you have felt from someone or something. The person doesn't have to be still with us. It could be a person from the past. It could be a thing, a pet. But we bring that into our heart center and we feel it. We feel the depth of that unconditional love and how that made us feel, mind, body, and spirit. And as we bring that into awareness, we are aware of our hearts opening up. And now we take that loving kindness and we spread it to our little Sangha, sending it to each person on this Zoom call. And now we open that to our close circle of friends and family. To everyone, those who are leading great lives, and also to those who are struggling. And now we open our hearts to people in our neighborhood, our friends, and people we don't even know. And now opening to the whole of the city of Toronto and the province of Ontario. Most of these people we will never ever meet, but they too are deserving of loving kindness. And now we open our circle to our country of Canada, to North America, and indeed to the whole world, especially to those people who are troubled, people who are suffering in fear. We offer them loving kindness right from our heart. And now we bring our whole world, our whole planet into our awareness as we send all sentient beings our loving kindness. And we bring that back to our own heart center so that we may love ourselves. And by loving ourselves, we can love others unconditionally. And so for the next few moments as we sit in silence, you might choose to honor that love in your heart. You might be aware of the change in a vibration that you previously felt and now feel after loving kindness. And like the springtime, the onset of spring, the practice of loving kindness gives us growth, nurturance, and the beauty that spring does. So as we sit in silence, you're going to choose Where is your awareness until you hear my voice again? May all beings be healthy. May all beings be loved. May all beings find peace.